Hi guys, welcome to another Computing Corner video. And in this video I am using my 2008 MacBook as I go through the sorting out of all my iPods and seeing what I can put on them. Music, apps, or anything galore. Now I've got here a bunch of iPods. I've also got an iPhone hidden amongst here somewhere. There it is. But just to set the picture up, it's amazing how fast technology has evolved. I mean, even I struggle with it sometimes. Struggle to keep up with Face ID sometimes. But I currently have an iPhone 16 Pro Max. It's always allows me to keep up to date with what's going on, and given the nature of what I do, it's always important to stay as up to date as you possibly can. But then with that in mind, it's also, I always find it nice just to go take a blast from the past and look at some older gadgets. Now, as I mentioned, I've got a container full of gems in here, and I'll show you each one that I've got, one at a time. So first off, this one is an iPhone 4S. Now, I do understand they might as well just call it an iPod soon because of the fact that 3G's getting switched off slowly here in the UK. Don't know how much longer it's going to last, but it's slowly getting switched off. So I won't be able to make phone calls with it or access mobile data, so you just call it an iPod. But then I've also got, I'll pop that over here. This is an iPod Classic 6th Gen. Wouldn't know what it is exactly. I think it might be dead actually. I think they all might be dead. Certainly not powering on, so something tells me it's dead. But it doesn't mean I can't set it up. I've got the very first iPod Shuffle, 512 megabytes. Now I've already sorted this one out. I think I might do something else with that though. I might change my mind music wise with that one. I've just recently got, this is the iPod Nano 6th Gen, which some people might believe that this is a precursor to what I'm wearing on my wrist today. So I've got an Apple Watch. I've got an Apple Watch Ultra 2. It's amazing what you wear on your wrist these days. But with that in mind, this was seen by many as a precursor to an Apple Watch, because what people would do was they would get some third-party wristbands or watch straps even, and they would wear this on their wrist so it acts like a watch in some sort of way. I've also got an iPod Nano 3rd Gen. This one's only 4 gigabytes, mind you. Followed by a 2nd Gen iPod Nano. Again, this one's only 4 gigabytes. Gone were the days where you had the information printed on the back. So you can, if you have a look at the back, you might not be able to see it, because the print on it is so small. Can't even see it when held up that close to the camera. But you might be able to see this one though. Yeah, you can see this one just about. that this one's 4 gigabytes. I also have an iPod Touch 4th gen, which is 8 gigabytes. Can't wait to try that one out. Dies out pretty quickly though, mind you. This is an iPod Touch 5th gen. This is the very first iPod Touch. Wow. I'm holding this up and it's got a reflective screen on it. That's interesting. I might see if I can put that back down to the very first iOS. I'll have a look at that. It'd be nice just to have a look at that. And then I've got an iPod Shuffle 3rd gen, which I think, if I have a look, it should tell you the specs on the back. I can't see that yet. But it's also interesting to note at this stage that you can tell when something's a shuffle. They only went up to 4 gigabytes. In fact, get a bit of hair out of my mouth. In fact, if you look at a 4th gen iPod Shuffle, they only came in 2 gigabytes. Now, the 1st gen Shuffle that I've got here, this one was the only Apple product to come shipped with less than 1 gigabyte. They did come with a 1 gigabyte model, mind you. Just have to note that. But this one's a 512 megabytes, which is always interesting to note because this is the only one that came with any megabyte storage. But join me in a bit, as what I do is I will go over each segment of that. I've got iTunes opened, and I'll take you through the process of each one. Going to need these type of cables as well. Join me back in a bit after this, and I'm back. And what we're going to be doing now is I've just gone into iTunes, and I'm going to go through each of setting everything up. So let's start with all the 30-pin stuff. So that would be iPod Touches up to 4th gen, iPod Classic, iPod Nanos. It is 6 of them. And then we'll start with the oldest. Oh, and the iPhone 4S. So it's practically all of them then, apart from the Shuffles and the 5th gen Touch. So let's start with the very first iPod Touch. Plug that in. All of these are going to be dead. Just come up as a lightning cable, a lightning bolt thing, saying it needs to be charged. I better leave that for a moment. But it's also important to note at this point that if you're going to do this sort of stuff, that you connect to a relevant date computer I tried to tried to set up my iPod Nano 6th gen, and I've had on my 2022 MacBook Pro, and I've had no luck with it. So I did it on the 2008 MacBook, which is this one, and I managed to get it to work. So what I need to do now at this point is check to see which ones are dead, so which ones need charging. Well, that one's dead, because I'll have to obviously charge them up beforehand. Try my iPhone 4S. That one's dead as well. Won't even power on. Well, the 6th gen iPod Nano's alright. This one's obviously going to be dead. Yeah, the iPod Touch 4th gen is obviously dead, because battery on this one dies out really quickly. That's charging, so yeah, that's going to be dead. Let's try this one as well. iPod Nano 3rd gen. This one actually is working. So this one's got some battery in it. Do I have... Oh yeah, I've put it on hold. It's down there. Oh, it just died. This has a different way of telling you whether it's got juice in it or not. This is going to be fun. So it powers on. But then it looks like it's going to die out. Yeah, low battery connector power. Yeah, I thought it was the case. Still lets you connect though, which is interesting. Let's see. Oh, it's just turned itself off. So it says it's connecting. It's connected, but then it dies. So I'm going to have to leave that one alone as well. This one's going to be dead as well. Can barely see it either. You can just about make out the Apple logo on here. Do not disconnect. Welcome to your new iPod. Click continue. Oh, nothing on here. Yeah, I've got nothing on here. that's going to be interesting. So what we'll end up doing in this case is I'll try and determine what I'm going to get on which device. But that's 1 out of 6 so far. Let's check that. So I can't because it's synchronizing at the moment. Now I can. And you've still got the games in that as well. Contacts. You even get a timer on here as well. And that does the timers as well. And I think it's safe to eject as well. Let's put that to sleep. And then the next thing I want to do is show you what my iPod Nano 6th Gen does. Get the 7th Gen as well, and then you'll be able to look at the difference between those. This one is 8 gigabytes. Yeah, it's 8 gigabytes. And I've just formatted it to Mac. And then what I'll do is I'll just get a memory stick of all my music, put my music on it, and then I can just sort all that out. And you'd have to manually add everything onto it as well. So we'll eject that. Join me back in a while. Just reconnected my iPod. Join me back in a while, as I need to just sort all my iPods out. Make sure that I've at least got some juice in them before I attempt to do anything with them. And then I'll start putting music on them, formatting them, putting music on them as well. And I'm back. Just a quick update as to what's going on. There's a few more things I need to do just before I can carry on organising my iPods out. The one thing that is currently happening at the moment is I've got 3 devices on charge. And we've got my iPod Touch 1st and 4th Gen, and I've also got my iPhone 4S charging up as well. Now, just as a side note, all of them iPhones, if they die, they won't power back on until power hits 5% at least. So it's got to be on at least 5%. iPods and iPads are more forgiving, they'll power back on at 1%. Like what my iPod Touches have done, they would generally power back on at 1%. But still you want to make sure, and I particularly want to make sure I've got enough juice in those iPods so that I can get some use out of them. Having said that, mind you, my iPod Touch 4th Gen, the battery on that is pretty shot at the moment. So, I mean, while you can still use it, You just got to have it plugged in at all times. Otherwise the battery will just die out within minutes. But so I quickly pop on here just to give you all an update as to what's going on. I've got to sort some photos out because I've just sorted all my music out onto this MacBook, but I haven't got any of my own personal. I haven't got any artworks to any of my stuff that I've done, apart from I think it was just the one. I think I've only just got the one, but I've better double check to see what's going on, and then I'll update those before I can even do anything else. This video is going to take a bit longer than expected, but please do bear with me. And I'll make sure that I give you a good video so that you'll be able to then see exactly what's going on, what the storage capacities of each of my iPods are, or an iPhone in this case as well. And I will see you back here once that's all been sorted and I've done what I need to. I'll be back in a bit after this. And I'm back. And this is actually day 2 of sorting out this video. Now, it's also important to note at this stage that I switched up to my mid-2012 MacBook Pro because of the fact that I had many problems with the one that I originally used. The 2008 MacBook gave me some problems, and then I realised at this point that it didn't support Apple Music fully because that's running Mavericks, and I'm not particularly too sure of how Capitan would have supported it either. That's the last system that the 2008 MacBook will support. So I've switched up to my mid-2012 MacBook Pro for the remainder of this video, and you'll be pleased to know that this works on Apple Music. My iPod Nano 6th Gen, which means I can feel pretty much confident that everything else will work as well. Another thing I need to point out as well, this one is now fully up to date. So I've had a look, because this is going to be the iPod that I put all my Now stuff on. So I've looked at how far I've got up to. I did up to 105. So I did sorted out now 119 and 120, and then put the rest of the albums on. Still got about 40 gig left on that. So I have more than enough space to take care of what I need to. But what I'm going to do, while I think about it, is I'm going to go into Apple Music and see what the rest of my iPods can take. And then I'll leave some bits over.
I found this on the web for what the rest of my iPods.
I didn't even say you could talk, love. As I was saying before I got interrupted, I'm going to see what the rest of my iPods will take, music and apps wise, and then we'll be able to work out how I'm going to make the use of whatever space I've got on my iPods. Another one I don't have to worry about sorting out is my first gen iPod Shuffle, because I did this in a previous video. So that is absolutely fine as it is. So I've got 7 iPods to take care of, and the 3rd gen iPod Shuffle. Join me back in a bit and I'll go through each one, go through each of them, and be able to work out what I plan to put on each iPod. So I'll be back in a bit after this. And what we're going to do at this stage is we're just going to go into Apple Music, and I think the first thing I want to check out would be all the 30-pin cabled iPods. So there's 7 of them, but there's 6 of them actually. We'll start with the iPod Touch first gen. This one has got 8 gigabytes. It's completely scratched at the back, but it shouldn't affect the quality of the music you put on the iPod. Just going to quickly give that a wipe. It's actually screen is scratched at the front as well. And that is a bit, yeah. I'll just open up iTunes. Music. Yeah. So we'll take care of that. And then what we'll do, there's my iPod. Which is not showing up there. But it is there. Got to try and determine what I'm going to put on here. But what I do want to do when I'm thinking about it is I just want to quickly go online and see if I can download iOS 1 for it, because this would have taken iOS 1. This is the first iPod, the very first iPod Touch from 2007. Both this and the iPhone came at around the same time. I think I might have to go into Finder for this one. Just to see if I can do sync on that. Sorry, I've got an itchy nose. There's the autofill settings, which I don't need to worry too much about. I just want to make sure the sync settings manually manage. Yeah, that's fine. Now we've got 2 transfers there as well. So I'll just take care of that. But join me back in a bit, because I'm going to see if I can download the first iOS system for it, and then I'll be able to go proper nostalgic on the very first iPod. Join me back in a bit after this. And I'm back. And what we're going to be looking at this point is we're just going to choose what we're going to put on the iPod Touch, the 5th gen. And I'm just going to, because I've got some games on here. One of them includes Bit Life, and then I've also got some other bits as well, which I'm going to look at as well. But also, what I wanted to do is if I just go on to music, go onto my iPod. So it's syncing. I've got some other bits here as well, which I'm wanting to look at. But I do want to try and put my bits on there. No, I don't want to play anything because of copyright. Um, let's have a look. So, I just no, I didn't want to do that. You're just doing anything other than what I want you to. Right, let's keep that there for now. I've got up to Daft Punk, and I'm going to try. So it's updating Darren Stratton's iPod, which works well. What I'm going to look at doing, trust it on my MacBook Pro. This is a 5th gen. And then what I'll do is I'm going to do the other ones off screen, I think, because this, yeah, I just need to get to the bottom of something, which I will, after, I need to explain something after I've looked into this one. Pardon me. Right, that's done. We've got the files on there as well. So I've got 10.7 gigabytes. And there it is. So I'm going to try and put some of my bits on there. Let's wait for that to sort itself out. Let me just go back up a moment. But I think what I'll do is once they've all been downloaded, there's that many left. Once these have all been downloaded, I'm going to just move them across. I'm going to see let's go check something a moment. It's come up as unknown artist. Well, that shows a sign. Oh, something's come up on my finder. And I'm just going to go into account settings. and then hopefully that will let me just do it straight away. It might come up and ask me to I think it's going to ask me to re-enter my password. No, it's not. It's going to allow me to do it straight away. But I do want to see if I can remove my downloads. So look at this. Let that sort of stuff out. But what I'm going to do is join me back in a bit, and I'll take care of the rest of this off screen. Join me back in a bit after this. And I'm back. And what we've got at this point is this. If I just come out of that a moment, I've got to sign into that again. This this iPod Touch 5th Gen, this one, is currently being synced to this iTunes library because I haven't used it for a while. So it's just at the moment resyncing my whole library because I've added loads to it since then, including my own stuff, and it's not come up with that much at all. It hasn't even come up with any of my own stuff, which is rather weird, I have to say. It's just at this point we can only wait to see what happens with this, and as soon as I know what happens with this iPod, I will let you know on a community post. I'll let you know by a community post. And we've got that as well. I'm going to do the rest of these iPods off screen because we're already about 40 minutes into this video, and it's going to get rather long. I mean, this video's already taken me a couple of days to make, which comes to show about the constant constant change of clothes. Bought this t-shirt earlier because my other one was starting to fray. It's been showing its age for ages. I've had it for a good number of years. Also, another news and sad news as well on my part. I was the proud owner of the first generation iPod Touch, but unfortunately, this has now gone into the form of e-waste. I've tried to restore it back to iOS 1 so I can keep it nostalgic, and I've never looked at iOS 1 before. The only thing I know about that is the fact that it had no App Store. Couldn't use the App Store even when it was running iOS 3, so I wasn't really missing out on much. But it was forever stuck in recovery, and I couldn't, whatever I tried, I couldn't restore it back to iOS 1. I tried to download iOS 2 as well, and I ended up getting a timeout error. So, suffice it to say, and it rather pains me to say, that it's rest in eternal peace to my iPod Touch 1st Gen. So I'm now down to 9 iPods, but you still get to see those in action. I'm restoring one at the moment, just resyncing everything to one at the moment. Well, unfortunately, some things aren't meant to be. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.